If you watched Pierre's other little TikTok videos and YouTube videos, he had one the other day where he was sitting down at breakfast and he was holding up like his glass of water, his eggs, his toast, and he was pointing out the inflation on every part of his breakfast.
Yes, great.
And then he named it Trudeauflation, putting his name into the problem.
I know.
But the
well, I mean, one of the problems here is that the Tories in Canada haven't been in power for quite a while. Part of the inflation problem here is Mr. Frydenberg and Mr. Morrison. Let's be honest, they were the biggest spending government since, I don't know, Second World War. So, he's got a disgraceful legacy he's got to deal with, Mr. Dutton, which is not easy. But it would still be better. One of the other things Poilievre has done is he's come out and said he's going to cut the CBC budget in half. It's going to, so in Australian terms, the ABC gets what, 1.2, 1.3 billion a year? It's going down to 600 million, he said. And now every time somebody criticizes him on the CBC, he says, well, look, it's pure self-interest, because they're going to criticize a conservative no matter what. There's nothing you can do to get fair treatment on the ABC. But if you threaten to cut their budget, you make them look self-interested.
That's why
I don't know why we don't do it.
That's why he's so clever, but he's also relatable. But my point is that Albanese is a terrible orator. His press conferences are dreadful. And I mean, they're not just rambling or delusional like a Biden Q&A. You can hardly understand Albo, and he finds it very difficult to relate to people beyond his little, my poor childhood story.
Look, Alexandra, here's the thing.
I was going to say, surely even an average politician in the opposition should be able to completely obliterate someone like Albanese.
Yes, the first thing, the press are not honest brokers. In the U.S., they're letting a guy who's functionally brain dead. They're pretending that he's a functioning being. They don't ask any hard questions. I mean, it's obvious to everyone that they're like the Praetorian Guard for the Democrats. It's not as bad here in Australia, but it's bad. It's bad. You can't point to a single conservative presenter or producer on the ABC. That's been true since I got here, pretty much. And, we lived through 9 years of Liberal government, and they don't do anything about it. They just don't have a will to fight. The universities are incredibly left-leaning, and they're getting more every day. And again, 9 years of Liberal government, they didn't do anything. So that's a ginormous problem. But you're right. Why can't a politician stand up and take apart Albanese? I mean, you're going to be criticized. You're going to be criticized on all the legacy media. But so what? They don't support you anyway. Fairfax is no better than, barely better than ABC. And so and the line I used to hear was, well, they've got Fox News in the US, which, by the way, is not Trump friendly, but they've got Fox News. So, you've got some institutional support. Poilievre has no institutional support. He's 15 points ahead in the polls. There's no Spectator TV. There's no Spectator. There's no Sky News. He is operating in a vacuum. And, if you are articulate and you voice the problem and you take on the questioners, he's got a massive lead right now. Again, let me repeat this. He's ahead amongst young women, and he's not articulating soppy teal stuff. So I have never agreed with the Mark Texter line that conservative parties ought to park themselves a centimeter to the right of Labour as Labour moves left. And this is what we get from too many members of the Liberal Party party room. They just, you almost think they'd prefer to lose as long as they keep their seats.
I actually think you might be right about that, particularly in Victorian state politics. I don't think they actually want to win that election. But, women always vote for strong men. They vote for good-looking men or charismatic men, and they vote for bad boys. And Pierre has got most of those things down pat. You know what else he's got? He's got Twitter, and he's got Elon Musk, and he's using those platforms to his best advantage. And who's on those platforms? Predominantly young women, which might explain why he's reaching so many people